Yes, guys, what's happening? And welcome to the stream. Welcome back to the channel. And here, perhaps an hour or so later than we expected to be, due to there having to be a second draw for the Champions League after a bit of a mess up, we've actually ended up getting Lille again. So the best possible outcome for Chelsea. Obviously, we could have got Ajax, Real Madrid, or Bayern Munich as the other three options. So we avoided those three teams, which is great. And we get Lille again. So our luck was most certainly in. But joining me to go through the draw, give our reaction to it, is Theo from the Shed End podcast. Mate, thanks for joining me again. Hope you had a good time away. What were your first thoughts when, obviously, we got Lille, and then the news comes through about 10 minutes before we're going to go and do this, that they're doing the draw again?
I couldn't believe it. I thought I kind of just carried on with my work day, and then I got a text from my co-host for my own podcast saying that they were redoing the draw. Straight away, I went to Twitter and I was reading all these tweets from UEFA, the Champions League. I couldn't really believe it. I don't think it's ever happened before, and I think obviously Real Madrid got Benfica before the mistake was made, and then they had to redo the draw, and now they got PSG, so they must be probably the fuming out all the teams. But yeah, it's kind of like, to put it in context, it's a bit like what happened with Hamilton in the F1 yesterday. Yeah. So. But yeah, it was a bit of a crazy morning of football, even though no football was played, just in terms of the draw. But yeah, I'm still kind of processing it all.
I mean, obviously, UEFA released a full statement. They said, following a technical problem with the software of an external service provider that instructs the officials as to which teams are eligible to play each other, a material error occurred in the draw for the UCL round of 16. And there's three errors made. Firstly, Man United were placed in the same pot as Villarreal, despite being in the same group. And they were initially drawn against each other before having to draw again. Then Liverpool were included in the same pot as Atletico Madrid, even though they were both in the same group, so they couldn't face each other. And then Man United were not included in the pot to face Atletico Madrid either. So obviously a host of errors there. But I mean, ultimately, the right decision to redraw this?
It's probably the right decision, yeah. At the time, I was fuming, obviously, because as a Chelsea fan, we got the best draw. But it makes sense to redo it. I think teams like Atletico probably felt hard done. And if there is a mistake like that, and three rookie mistakes like you just read out, that shouldn't be happening with a kind of such an organization like the UEFA, then a draw has to be done again. And I'm pleased though that we got the same outcome. I don't know what the odds were for us to get the same outcome again, and have to calculate it. But yeah, probably the right decision. But it was a nerve-wracking second draw, because I felt like the writing on the wall was there to get Bayern Munich.
Yeah. I mean, I think loads of Chelsea fans ourselves are thinking it as well. It's all over Twitter. Oh yeah, we're going to get Bayern now. Just kind of typical. But somehow we managed to get Lille again, which is fantastic. Obviously, no, shouldn't be disrespected them. They did finish top of their group. Obviously, a more open group that contained RB Salzburg, Sevilla, and Wolfsburg, but nonetheless they topped the group. Obviously struggling in France a little bit at the moment. They are the defending champions. They lost their manager though. He went to Nice. New managers come in, and they've not done as well this season. I think they're currently 11th in league. They're miles off PSG, but they got some half decent players. Likes of Renato Sanchez, Jonathan David, the exciting Canadian striker. Obviously the veteran Burak Yilmaz, who was decent last year, and I can't remember the lad's name now. They've got a Turkish guy at fullback who was pretty good as well. Theo, obviously the best possible outcome, but I mean, we can't underestimate this game, can we? We've got to, give it full respect.
Definitely, we shouldn't underestimate Lille. They're the champions of Ligue 1 for a reason, and that's them topping PSG last season. Probably a lot has changed in the summer, of course, but I think it's going to be a hard game. Obviously, a lot can happen as well between now and February, when we were meant to play them. Injuries, players recovering, managers coming in and out. You never know for Lille or other teams. But I think it'll be a tough game. We saw it when we played them in the group stage 2 seasons ago. It was a very tough game in Lille. I think only a 1-goal difference. And I think it can be quite a hostile atmosphere when you play these French teams. So I'm expecting a difficult away game as well. Obviously, no away rule this year. I don't know if that's going to favour us or not favour us. But I think we're playing at home first as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, runners up. Because we runners up, you play at home first and away second leg. But obviously, I don't, as you touched on, I don't think that's going to make too much difference, because the away goals are scrapped now. Just on that, do you think that's the right decision? I mean, obviously, it was announced before the tournament started a few months back. Personally, I feel it's the right thing to do. But I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
I'd have to disagree. I
Yeah,
thought last season it made complete sense when there were no fans in the stadium.
yeah,
I felt like you might as well scrap that rule, keep it, neutral, keep it a goal counts for a single goal, especially when we were playing in, I think, Sevilla for games against Porto.
yeah.
Both games were played there. It made no sense to have an away goal rule. But this season, I feel fans are back. I feel it does make sense. Maybe it doesn't make sense where maybe teams like Germany and I think Netherlands might not have fans, depending on the COVID restrictions come then. But I just feel like it adds a bit of something. It adds something to knockout football. Managers often play for, getting that away goal and then, defending that lead in the second leg. So it's going to be quite different. It's going to be, I think, a lot more goals than we would have seen in previous knockout legs.
Do you think it's going to change the way that teams approach games now? Because obviously, I think originally the away goals rule was brought in to stop teams going to the away leg, sitting back and just playing for like a goalless draw. But do you think this could alter the way teams kind of approach these knockout ties now, or ultimately does it not really make much difference at the end of the day?
I think teams will be playing for wins rather than draws now.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And I think if they are both playing for wins, you could maybe see some kind of high scoring draws, 2-2s in both legs, which would mean maybe more extra time, more penalty shootouts. So I think it's the first season where we see it happening. I think I'm just going to kind of like see what happens this season, whether it works, whether it doesn't work from a fan's perspective, and then hopefully see what happens after then. But I do think teams should just approach every game with I'm going to win this rather than sit back and defend leads. But I guess that's what we've been seeing in previous legs of the Champions League. But it'll be interesting for sure.
Yeah, no, it definitely is a little change. Certainly makes it interesting. But back to that Lille ties that we touched on a little bit. We don't know, as you touched on, mate. The COVID restrictions. Who knows what's going to be going on come February, March time next year? Whether there'll be fans, no fans, or what. But I mean, also the January window, Lille. There's a possibility that they could lose some of their better players. I'm not saying Jonathan David might go, but Renato Sanchez is constantly linked with moves. There could be a possibility that he may be sold in January, maybe. So there's a chance that Lille could be weakened as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like the player you mentioned, I think as well, Akone is quite a good player of theirs.
Yeah, he's going to Fiorentina, I think.
Yeah, he's been linked to a few Serie A teams and elsewhere. And even for Chelsea, you never know. Maybe a player that's played for both teams in Eden Hazard might return to Chelsea to face his old team. But I think January may be a busy month for Lille in terms of their personnel, players coming in and coming out. But I think it would definitely be worth coming to this this tie in January time and seeing what's happened in terms of the injuries, the players that have come in. But we should definitely be the favourites either way, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And as I said, so much can be different between now and when these ties do take place. And all that disappointment of blowing it against Zenit, the 3-3 draw, coming second in the group, ultimately hasn't actually really made very much difference at all, because we got Lille and Juve got Villarreal. So if we top the group, we've got Villarreal and Lille, probably similar games. I'd say Villarreal maybe slightly tougher, but in the end, it didn't make much difference, did it, mate?
No, it really doesn't. I guess Group H, both teams got quite lucky, runners up and topping the group. And either way, there's no easy game in the Champions League, whether it's Villarreal, whether it's Bayern Munich, whether it's Lille. So either way, we should just approach these games with the same mentality of going in it with the wanting to score goals and wanting to win the games. Like we mentioned before, there's no away goal rule. So, but yeah, I think that didn't really make a difference, even though it felt like it made a difference on last week when we played Zenit in Russia.
Yeah, but I mean, we sort of obviously got a bit of time until those ties take place. But I mean, how do you expect Chelsea to do in the Champions League this season? I spoke to quite a few Chelsea fans. A lot of Chelsea fans are quite confident that we can get to the final again and maybe even retain the trophy. I mean, what are your thoughts on how we can do in the competition this season?
I don't think we're favourites. I think teams like City, Liverpool, and Bayern Munich are ahead of us. But at the same time, I don't think any team's ever won it back to back since the Champions League was created.
Well, Real Madrid
since Real Madrid, that's what I had to say.
Real Madrid done the 3 in a row.
Yeah,
no one else has done it.
So I don't know, but I do think Thomas Tuchel is a brilliant knockout, Champions League manager. So you never know. Never say never. We weren't favourites this time last year to win the Champions League. We're probably not favourites again. And I actually quite like, having that label of underdogs. But the fact maybe Chelsea fans are getting a bit confident and cocky now maybe speaks, says otherwise. But I think anything can happen. Anything can happen. I think I'd rather focus on the league than the Champions League this year if I had to choose between the two. But yeah, if we get a good Champions League campaign, it would be brilliant.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think I'm in the same boat as you. Yeah, it's great to win the Champions League, but ultimately I'd rather win the league this season just because we haven't done it for so long. I've just brought up the last extreme draw on screen. Mate, we're just going to go through some of these ties, just give a bit of reaction to them. We've obviously already gone through Chelsea and Lille. We both fully expect Chelsea to go through in that tie. But Theo, arguably the tie of the round, PSG taking on Real Madrid. I mean, what a prospect that is. You know, you've got the likes of Messi, Neymar, Mbappe. You've obviously got Benzema, Vinicius Jr., Eden Hazard at Real Madrid as well. I mean, I don't know if he's going to play a part or not. But, I mean, this is a fascinating tie, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really exciting one. Probably the pick of the bunch. I think it's based on what I've seen this season, I think I'd favour Real Madrid to progress. I think Ancelotti's done a brilliant job so far. Vinicius is probably the most improved player from last season in the whole competition. PSG, I still think they're trying to, too many big egos in that team. Neymar will probably be injured come February time, like he always is.
It's his sister's birthday in February as well.
Exactly.
He always misses games for that as well. So I doubt
injured. Yeah. But it'll be a great game. A lot of stars on show. Messi obviously knows how to play against Real Madrid. So from a neutral perspective, that'll be a brilliant game to watch.
Yeah, no, it really will be. And obviously, PSG is almost at the moment now for any manager, it's Champions League or bust. I mean, do you feel that Pochettino has got this team playing well enough to progress in this time? I mean, I just can't see PSG winning the Champions League just based on the fact that you cannot win this competition, in my opinion, defending as a 7. Those front three don't do any tracking back. No. They do no work defensively for the team at all. We saw that perfectly in the group stage match at the Etihad against City. Those three just amble about at the top end of the pitch. Great going forward, but defensively can't be relied on at all.
Definitely. And because Man City had so much possession in that game, the three of them hardly touched the ball. So I think Pochettino needs to work on that, getting those three players to track back. And obviously Real Madrid, they've got that pace. They've got Benzema. They've got so much firepower up top, in front of the pitch. So I think like I said, I'd favour Real Madrid to progress in that one, unless PSG drastically improve between now and the next couple of months.
Yeah, mate, I think I'd have to agree with that. And obviously Mbappe could be, a bit of a rehearsal for him at the Bernabeu. I think he's going to sign a pre-contract agreement in January, I'd imagine. So could be a Real Madrid player, essentially, by the time these ties come round, which could be an interesting twist. I've already done Chelsea and Lille. Salzburg against Bayern Munich. I mean, Salzburg, not much luck in the draw. Had Liverpool first time round, Bayern this time round. I mean, not really much chance of an upset here, is there?
No, definitely not. I think they're just happy to be in the round of 16. If anything, they've got nothing to lose playing that game. They might as well, enjoy it, try not to concede a lot. But there's only one winner in that tie, in my opinion. Yeah,
no, I agree. I mean, Salzburg got some exciting young players. Adeyemi, the young German forward, is a really exciting prospect. There's also a possibility that he could be moving to Borussia Dortmund, maybe Bayern Munich as well. So this would be a good opportunity to put himself in the window to show what he can do against a top-class opposition. But at the end of the day, I agree with you, mate. Salzburg have done really well to get out of the group, and this will probably be a step too far for them. But I think it might be a little bit closer than people anticipate it to be. But just on Bayern, mate, obviously probably one of the best sides in the world. They've got to be one of the favourites this season to lift the trophy.
Yeah, definitely. So many exciting players in that team. They breezed past the likes of Barcelona and Benfica in the group stage. Nagelsmann, quality manager, really good manager. Young German. Young German managers, how good they are. So I think they're definitely the favourites. Like I mentioned at the start of the recording, I think them and City and maybe Liverpool are ahead of Chelsea right now.
Yeah, no, I think I'd have to agree with that as well, mate. Another interesting tie, Inter versus Liverpool. Liverpool probably be slightly annoyed the fact they had Salzburg first time round, a bit of a tougher task against Inter. Obviously, Inter had Ajax first time round, so it's harder for them as well. I quite like the look of this tie. Inter are playing some good stuff, got some exciting players. Edin Dzeko's doing well there. Correa is a top player. Obviously, Alexis Sanchez still doing a little bit there as well. Midfield with the likes of Barella as well, and Brozovic. So, Inter are a good side. And this won't be easy for Liverpool, but do you expect Liverpool to get through over the two legs?
I do think Liverpool will progress simply because, when they played AC Milan, who I think are quite a similar teaming level, and Inter Milan, they kind of coped with that quite well. And I also think a lot of those Inter players you listed may leave in January to go to Tottenham Hotspur, if anything, because I think Conte will maybe sign a few of the his odd teams players. I think the likes of Brozovic, maybe Skriniar as well might leave.
Skriniar, decent.
So I think Liverpool will be the favourites, but I do agree it's quite a good game on paper for sure.
I mean, just on Liverpool, I mean, the group stage are fantastic. I think they won every game. They're banging with a chance of the trophy this season as well, aren't they?
Definitely.
They're looking really good this season.
Definitely. If they keep the Mane, Salah, those type, maybe Jota as well now rather than Firmino, if they keep those three fit, I think they've got every chance to win the trophy. From a Chelsea fan perspective, it's a bit selfish to say, but I hope one of them does get injured, maybe at the African Cup of Nations or something like that. But yeah, they don't seem like they're going to be dropping points anytime soon in the league, and I think they'll go at least to the semi-finals of the Champions League.
Yeah, they're looking really good. Hopefully, and just as their luck would have it, the Nations Cup will be done by the time these Champions League knockout ties resume. But it is what it is. I mean, this next one's quite a tough one to call. Atletico Madrid against Man United. I mean, on current form, both sides not doing well. Madrid not doing well in La Liga. United obviously not doing well in the Premier League. A better Champions League campaign for them. Atletico Madrid getting through on the last round of matches with a 3-1 away win at Porto. I mean, currently, this is two teams that are bang out of form. But come February, it could be slightly different. You'd expect Ralf Rangnick to have implemented more of his ideas. United to be playing much better football by then. I mean, how do you see this going? I'd probably say right now, I think Man United probably would get through this tie.
Yeah, I think it's probably the most equally matched game on paper, given the two teams' form. But like you said, Ralf Rangnick could make a lot of changes and implement his system in the next couple of months. I think Atletico Madrid, when we, this time last year when Chelsea drew Atletico Madrid in the round of 16, we feared them. We really did fear them. Yeah. But where now I think United will kind of fancy their chances in that game. They're not, playing as well domestically. I think they lost 2-0 in the Madrid derby last night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think quite an equally matched game. However, I kind of do hope that at least Atletico improve come February to give maybe United a bit more a run for their money.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. I mean, go back to last season, we were worried about them, and they were top of La Liga playing really well. They were absolutely shocking across those two legs. We couldn't believe how bad they were, but they were terrible. But yeah, I think just Man United, but this is probably the closest tie in the round in terms of kind of quality, etc. Sporting against Man City. City, obviously, first time round had Villarreal, a similar kind of draw this time. They have gone out over the years to sides of a similar quality to Sporting, the likes of Lyon, etc. But City should have too much for these now, shouldn't they?
Definitely. I think if anything, if one team's winning the Champions League this year, I think it'll be City. They probably would have learned from last season's mistakes, when they went all the way and then just lost the final. But I think this will be easy, probably the, thrashing, if anything. I think I rewatched Sporting's highlights against, forgot who they played. Was it Ajax in the Champions League?
Yeah, they got battered, didn't they?
They got battered. I think it was 4-2 final score, but, the goals they conceded, they look sloppy defensively, ball going through the keeper's legs. So I think it'll be pretty routine for Manchester City.
Yeah, I would agree. Look, Sporting are much better now. They're in Porto, are clear of Benfica in the Portuguese league. But yeah, I mean, the golfing quality will be immense in this one. And yeah, you can't really see anything other than a City win. Moving on to the next one. Obviously, the Juventus topped our group, taking on runners-up Villarreal. Juve are in poor form at the moment, really poor form. But obviously, a lot can change between now and when these ties are played, as we've said. Villarreal, I thought, did really well to get out of this group. A 3-0 win away at Atalanta, who are no mugs. They're a decent side to get them through this group. This will be a lot closer than people expect, won't it?
Definitely. I think Juventus topping the group is not reflective of their current form because they are poor, like you mentioned. And Villarreal, I think they love European football. We saw it in the Super Cup final. We saw it in the Europa League last season. They relished the opportunity to play European football. They took it right to the end in the Super Cup when we played them and we beat them on penalties. But if I had to predict a winner, I'd probably go for Villarreal based on current form. I don't know how well they're doing domestically, but what I've seen from both teams in the Champions League, I think Villarreal maybe might be the better team in that leg.
Yeah, I mean, Juventus weren't great in the group stage, so it's really frustrating that we lost 1-0 away to them because we battered them at Stamford Bridge 4-0. I mean, they're not good at the moment, Juventus, at all. Mate, I probably have to say Juventus just because of the pedigree and the quality of player they got. But Emery knows European football inside out, won the Europa League multiple times. And yeah, this one will be close. So if there's going to be an upset, this one could be the tie that provides it for sure. And to round out the draw, mate, you've got Benfica taking on Ajax. I mean, for me, Ajax were the standout side of the group stage. 6 wins from 6. Haller getting 10. I think the fastest man to 10 goals in Champions League history, even. And I was watching him, and I'm thinking, this can't be the same guy that was playing for West Ham. That was so bad.
Oh, he was brilliant. Yeah, literally what I was thinking when I was watching Haller's highlights in that group stage. I was like, this can't be the same guy that was at West Ham 2 seasons ago. But what a signing for them. I think this is a really good tie because even Benfica, beating Barcelona, I think it was 3-0. Yeah. Even though Barcelona are out of form at the moment, very good result. And even beating Dynamo Kiev, I think home and away, or I think they drew with them and they beat them. These Ukrainian and Russian teams are never easy to play. They're very difficult. So I think Benfica are a very decent time. I think between all the games we can see here, I think probably Atletico, Man U, Villarreal, Juventus, Benfica, Ajax. I think all 3 of those games could go either way. Those 3 wild ties, yeah.
I mean, how exciting at Ajax, though. Ten Hag's doing a great job. Obviously, we saw them come within touching distance of the final with that team with the likes of De Ligt and De Jong, etc. They seem to have rebuilt again. Some really exciting players. Obviously, we touched on Haller. Tadic is still there, doing really well. Anthony, who's a fantastic player that Chelsea have ironically been linked with in recent weeks. I mean, Ajax are just such a great football club, aren't they? You can't help but not like them. I mean, the production there of talent coming through into the first team, and the fact that even though they lose loads of their best players, they are able to regroup and go again. I mean, do you think this Ajax team has got shades of that one from 2019 in it a little bit? I'm not saying they're going to get to the semi-finals necessarily, but they'll be a team that could be a dark horse.
I think so, because they didn't look that, like that 2018-19 squad in the last 2 seasons, but I think they even crashed out in the group stages last year. Whereas this year they look good again. They look very, very good. They came first in the group that contained Sporting Lisbon, Borussia Dortmund side with Erling Haaland. So they're no mugs, and I think they could at least make the quarters. I think they will top Benfica in this game based on what I saw in the group stage. But yeah, I do fancy them. And like you said, no matter who you support in football, you've got to admire and respect Ajax for just how well they deal with losing players and then bringing the right players back in, developing youth talent. So great side. And I think if you're an Ajax fan this season, I think it's quite exciting.
Yeah, no, 100% agree, mate. I mean, yeah, those are the last 16 ties. I mean, hopefully that is the official ties confirmed. There's not going to be another redraw because I can't be bothered to come back and go through them all again. But yeah, by all means, this is the official draw now. Chelsea getting Lille not once but twice, so a large slice of luck there. But we take it. I think the defending champions, you probably deserve a slice of luck there with that. But yeah, guys, that's just myself and Theo's thoughts on Chelsea's tie against Lille and the rest of the round 16 action. As always, guys, if you tuned in live, thanks for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. If you're watching it back, do exactly the same. I've linked all Theo's socials on his podcast in the description below. Make sure you go and check that out. Give him a follow. Some great stuff on there. Theo, thanks for joining me, mate.
Cheers.
Really appreciate it as always. And yeah, guys, we'll catch you in the Everton preview at some point later in the week. Cheers, guys.